Hi, my name is Rod Khleif, and I'm host of the Lifetime Cash Flow Through Real Estate Investing podcast. Now, each week I interview multifamily rock stars, and we talk about how they've built incredible wealth for themselves and their families through multifamily properties. So hit the like and subscribe buttons and get notified every Monday when a new episode comes out. Let's get to it. Welcome back to Multifamily Rock Stars, and these episodes are where we dive deeper into our guest deals and give you some practical and really actionable items for getting started and doing your first deal, especially if you're brand new to the commercial real estate space and brand new to multifamily. Typically, now this interview is not about multifamily. It's actually about industrial space, and it's an asset class I actually like a lot. I think there's incredible opportunity there, and so I'm really looking forward to this. The first time we've ever talked about this on the podcast, on any episode of the podcast. So I've got Andrew Dressel on. He's a warrior, and he's also an attorney and a real estate investor, and he just took down his first industrial building, I believe, with another warrior. We're going to hear all about it. Welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you. Very excited to join.
Thank you. So why don't you just give us a little more background? I stole a little bit of your thunder, but to give us a little bit of your background that you did prior to real estate, and just kind of bring us current, if you would.
Sure. So I've had an opportunity to wear a bunch of hats professionally in my life. I started off as a teacher. I taught 8th grade U.S. history. I did that for about 10 years or so, and then I jumped into the legal field. I went to the University of Pennsylvania, got my law degree there, graduated in 2011. Did a stint, in big law with large law firms, and I know what that's all about. And then I jumped into starting my own firm in 2018 with a focus again on commercial litigation, sort of business divorce, business breakups, although I do a bit more business formation these days as well. In terms of my investing background, my wife and I started real estate investing in 2016. We bought our first duplex in Philadelphia, and we started investing in single family homes and duplexes in Ohio, Alabama, South Carolina. We had a chance to be an LP on a 200-unit project down in Mississippi in 2021. And, we started looking at, what the GP was getting out of it, and also just thinking about scaling up and the importance of scaling up as an investor, because we could see with some of the single families and the duplexes, when you have a vacancy, when you have a large repair, your returns really get beaten up. So we wanted to look into how to be a GP and how to work in multifamily investing, and that's when we looked at a number of folks, and we looked at your program, Rod, and it really spoke to us. And the community has been tremendous. Multifamily investing, or commercial real estate investing, not only does it present, I think, the opportunity for solid returns, but it's also just a great group of people I've found, with people I've interacted with, and it's fun. I find it fun to work as a team to take these projects down.
Now, I know you were just at our Warrior event here in Sarasota just a few weeks ago. That was a lot of fun. I'm
Yes,
fully
absolutely.
recovered now, finally. And I know I heard you say before we started recording, you went to the one in Phoenix as well. So you listened when I said the most successful warriors are the ones that are the most connected in the community. And so there you go. Talk a little bit about who you think in the audience you might connect with more than others. I know the answer after reading your bio here, but if you would speak to that a little bit.
Sure. So I think one group of people that I would connect with are people who already have their own business, right? So they're already spending hours and hours and hours every week running a business, and you say to yourself, well, how can I do commercial real estate on top of that, or how can I fit that into that lifestyle? And the answer is you can. You just have to allocate your time wisely and think about how you do that. I think also my wife and I, we do this as a family thing. We're both in on these investments. We work together on things. It produces some disagreement for sure, but it also, I think, brings us together. And having that as part of your team is a good way to help manage your time. And also, everybody's got their strengths, right? Whether it's in a business or in a marriage. And so working together has been very, very positive. And, again, that's one of the things I like about also the, commercial real estate space is working as a team with other investors. And you learn who has real strengths, who you can lean on for certain things, whether it's organizational talents or analytical talents, or somebody's a people person and is happy to get out in front of investors and talk about a project. You learn how people come together. And so, you know, people shouldn't think my life is too busy. I don't have time for this. This isn't for me. I can't do it. You got to figure out how to surround yourself with the right people, how to play to your strengths, and you can make it happen.
I love it. So just out of curiosity, I wasn't aware that your wife was so actively involved. What hat does she wear? I know you're involved in capital raising, but besides kicking you in the butt and keeping things going, what else does she do?
Well, she is as good of a capital raiser, if not better, than I am. I mean, she
Oh,
is
no kidding.
great at. So she is her other business. She is a recruiter, an executive recruiter.
Oh, got
So
it.
so nobody is better at working the phones and getting back to people and uh, helping them understand the nuances of these investments. I mean, she's great at it. I mean, she's just a tremendous people person. She is the one when we go to Phoenix or to Sarasota that has 10 people around her. She's talking with them, and then she drags me over from the corner where I might be talking to one person. It's like, you got to meet this person, this person, this person, this person.
And
Nice,
before we go
nice.
deeper into that stuff, I did want to ask you something about what you mentioned when you got started in duplexes, residential. You said scalability was the hardest part. Just for the listeners, what specific things in that arena stopped you from scaling out in the smaller residential stuff?
So, I mean, doing this, 2 doors by 2 doors by 2 doors. One, the lending process is time consuming and difficult when you're doing it that way, right? I mean, you're you're going through a mortgage application each and every time, and filling out your W-2s, and it's just you can't build that way. Uh, and the other thing I said is, if you have 8 doors, let's say 10 doors, and one of those doors goes vacant, and it goes vacant for 3 or 4 months, well, you're going to eat some real losses there. If you have 400 doors, and yes, you may be not owning 100% of those doors like you would if you own duplexes, but if out of 400 doors, 10 are vacant, you're not pulling your hair out. So the scalability is very, very important. We got lucky with some of our first purchases. We didn't have to deal a lot with vacancies and large repairs, but we've seen other properties. You get a tenant leaves and they leave you with just their deposit, and you find out you've got $10,000 worth of repairs you've got to do.
Wow.
It's more, those 10 doors are just as time consuming as being a partner with other people on hundreds of doors.
No, that's absolutely right. So what do you think is your superpower? I mean, you're obviously very analytical. I'm guessing you're introverted as well, which is probably why you and your wife came together like yin and yang, opposites attract, right? Because she's obviously not if she's a recruiter, because she's working the phones all day long. So as you just described, but what do you think is your biggest strength as it relates to this business, or answer it any way you like?
I think you're right. Certainly, I lean toward the more introverted side.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also very comfortable, doing this, speaking to investors, walking them through an investment, answering their questions. I always tell my investors at the start of a webinar, I've had 2 careers. I've been a teacher and I've been an attorney. And when we do a webinar, we do a presentation, I'm wearing my teacher hat. I'm here to educate you. And I think I'm pretty good at that. And the investors at the end, even if they decide ultimately this is not the right thing for them, I do think they come away at least informed, and we're able to make a good informed decision about what was presented to them.
Now,
Nice.
how did that come about in terms of fundraising? Was it that you kind of learned a bunch of things and you decided, oh, I might like the fundraising side? Or was it, maybe the other way that we hear, which is somebody presented you with an opportunity and said, hey, we need help with fundraising, and you had a relationship with them? How did that happen?
Yeah. So, I mean, we talk with our mentor, Lauren, about a bunch of, all the different roles on a GP team, right? And we thought, maybe we'll be good underwriters, or we'll be the ones to find deals. Because I
You mean
never
your coach, right? Your coach, right? You're talking about
yeah,
Lauren on the team. Okay, gotcha. Okay, got it.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Because I never saw myself as a capital raiser. I couldn't imagine being the person who goes and talks to people in their network, talks to their friends, talks to their families, and is like, "Hey, you want to, invest with me or whatever." I just, I didn't think that would fit me.
Right.
And I thought, you know what, I'll do analysis, I'll run numbers, I'll play with spreadsheets, I'll talk to agents, whatever. Uh, and those I found actually didn't really fit me well as a role. And the biggest pleasant surprise I've had in this whole process, the first deal, was that I actually, one, enjoyed talking to my network and my friends and family about these opportunities, and two, that they were really into it. I thought, I call up folks and they'd be like, whatever, no thanks. No, people want to hear. They want to learn. They want to be educated. So it was a very pleasant surprise uh, how receptive people were to educating. Again, not everybody decides it's right for them, but nobody was like, "Don't talk to me. I can't even believe you're gonna bother me with this stuff." They showed up. They wanted to learn, and a lot of them did make a choice to come in on it.
Sure. Yeah. People overthink um, the challenge of raising money. It's really just building relationships, being congruent, of course, being knowledgeable in the subject matter, of course, as well, in what you're trying to raise money for. You can't dabble in this, but people overthink it. I mean, it's just it's developing those relationships, explaining what it is you're doing, and just saying, hey, I'm always looking for partners. If you know anybody, I'm love to chat with them about it. And this is the kind of stuff we're doing. So let me ask you this. We have a lot of listeners that haven't taken action yet, haven't done anything yet. What's an action item that they could do immediately to get started, even if they haven't come to one of my boot camps or inquired into the Warrior program, anything like that? What would you suggest they do to get rolling?
Well, they've decided to enter this space. I mean, one, you got to start letting people know what you're doing, right? So whether it's build a website, mention it on Facebook, mention it to folks, hey, this is something I'm learning about. I'm really interested in it. If you want to talk about it, I'd love to talk about it with you. Start to plant that idea with folks. I think that's important.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Because if you come to people cold, like, hey, I've got this investment, do you want to give me $100,000 or $50,000 or whatever? Obviously, the reaction's not going to be that strong. But if you've talked about it, even casually, whatever, plant the idea. I think that's very helpful, and just also show that you're genuine about it. That this is something you are spending time learning about. That it's not just something that you've decided to do, and you'll figure it out as it goes along. That it's something you are serious about. You will be surprised how many people really want to take the journey with you, even if it's just as a passive investor or something.
That's
No,
good.
I know you use HubSpot to keep track of some of these things, which I know Rod uses. I actually use it as well for brokers and deals, but I know you're using it for investors. Tell us a little bit, how do you actually use that as a system for investors? Are you using it to like email your investors to keep track of when to call them? What are the specific things that you do in terms of using HubSpot?
One of the first steps we took, and it's still something that's ongoing, is to go through our email lists that we have for our businesses. I have email lists of law school classmates, whatever. Think critically about each person. Is this somebody I haven't spoken to in like 15 years, and it's going to be like, why are you talking to me now? Or is this someone I have a relationship with? At least I've like said hello to them in the past couple of years. Go through that, build a database, and then don't be afraid then to use it first to send out that introductory email. Like, hey, just want you can see, I'll give them a whole update on my life. These are what the kids have been up to, whatever. And by the way, this is something I'm interested in. If you ever want to talk about it, feel free to email me, reach out. And so, yeah, we use it to collect contact data for potential investors, as well as to then communicate with investors afterwards on a particular deal.
Have you used it for marketing yet? We use it extensively for that, but of course I'm in a different world than you are at this point. But yeah,
I mean,
guess not.
marketing, I'm somewhat careful about mass emails on
No,
marketing.
I mean like social. HubSpot is nice enough. I don't want to go too micro here, but HubSpot, what's cool about it is it will actually track where your peeps are coming from. So like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever, it tracks where those leads, and in your case it would be investor leads. In my case, it's prospective clients for my Warrior program. But HubSpot's fantastic. I mean, we spend thousands of dollars a month on it, so we take it to another level. But if you ever get to that point where you want to start adding value, that's something that I teach, as you know, and adding value to a listener base or to a group of people in whatever way, shape, or form that looks like, through some educational content, webinars, emails, newsletters, whatever. It'll track the responses, which is kind of cool. So just as an aside.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, I was also just going to mention as well, if someone's looking for a CRM, we're not affiliated with it or anything, but we recommend it because you can grow with it. Because like we don't do it at that level, but you can get the basic membership of $100, $200 a year or whatever, and just track your, things like what Andrew's talking about. And so if anybody's looking for a CRM, it's a great one that you can grow with over time, and you don't have to spend thousands of dollars. It's just an aside there.
Yeah, and there's lots of CRMs. I mean, there's Zoho, really simple systems, and Sightly, if you're really big, Salesforce. But HubSpot's great for this business, and I highly recommend it. Like I said, we don't get anything for that. So let's talk about this first deal, this exciting deal you did with my buddy John. Yeah. So go through the deal. Go a little micro. Where is it? What'd you pay? How'd you find it? How'd you finance it? So on and so forth. Tell us about the deal in detail.
Sure. So, we found this through John, and we'd gone to the Warrior event in Phoenix in November, and of course, the first thing we did was start setting up Zoom calls and meetings with the folks we met out there to hear what they're working on. And John said, "Hey, I've got this warehouse, this industrial storage space down in Garden City, Georgia, which is just outside of Savannah."
Nice.
I had not realized, but Savannah is a massive infrastructure hub in this country in terms of shipping. People don't. People think of New York or Los Angeles or something, but Savannah is a massive port city. So he told me, I've got this property, and we've got to close by the end of the year because we want to capture the depreciation. So this conversation is about, I want to say, either the last week of November or first week of December.
Wow.
We want to close by the end of the year. We want to capture the depreciation. So it's like a 15,000 square foot warehouse. It's 18 units. The purchase price was 1.75 million. And he wanted to raise 900,000. He'd started some of the raise, but there was still quite a ways to go.
That's a great price, by the way. That's a great price. I can just tell, just do the math in my head. That's a great price. Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
No problem. So he's like, we got to raise quick. And he had done his own webinar. I watched that, and I said, John, let me just start reaching out to folks. And it was literally, my wife and I jumped on our phones and we started texting people like, happy holidays. We're working on something exciting. Let me know if you got time for a phone call, things like that. Started calling folks. And there was already positive traction, right? People were telling me they were interested, they want to learn more, but we're also sort of like, we're working against the end of the year, and we're also in the holidays. So like for folks to move money out of bank accounts or between accounts or whatever else in December, it's not easy because there's a whole lot of people who are
much
not
tougher. Yeah, much tougher.
So anyway, so we did another webinar that I hosted with John, with the folks that I had that were interested in investing. And this was in mid-December. I want to say like December 11th, 12th, somewhere around there. And immediately the next day I had people calling. saying I want in, I want to invest. Some people had follow-up questions, and we got it done. I couldn't believe we got it done and got this raise and got this. I mean, John was telling us, John and his wife just had a baby in February, and he was at a doctor's visit on like December 30th or something, and he was like signing the closing documents from like the doctor's office, like trying to get this thing done.
Go big or go home. You got to do what you got to do. Bottom line. Yeah, John's such a happy guy. So one of my favorite people in the program. Well, so you were able to do the 900. You were able to raise it.
Yes, we were able to get it done. We were able to close. It was amazing.
Oh, that's awesome! You were able to do it that fast. So, what other roles, what other hats are you wearing on that asset? What else have you done or doing as it relates to that asset?
Sure. So, one, we were presented with the deal. I did review the underwriting, and we made some adjustments based on my review to what we had seen in the initial underwriting. And there's still a lot on the asset management side that has to go on. So, for example, a lot of the value add on this has been turning over leases. So vetting that process, vetting property managers, working to improve the cash flow on the property has been my primary role post closing.
Fantastic.
Now, give us a little education on this deal in general in terms of industrial storage. What even really does that mean? What is your typical client base? Why'd you guys like this deal? What's the demand for that sort of thing in the area?
Great question, Mark.
So the investment thesis, there's a couple things. One, shipping, post COVID, right? So many people are doing things through e-commerce now, right? If you look at e-commerce, it has just shot through the roof since 2020. So there's a huge demand in infrastructure hubs like Savannah for smaller shipping, trucking companies, things like that. So that's really increased demand, and there hasn't been a whole lot of construction, frankly, to meet that demand. Given where interest rates are and things like that, the construction is not kept up. You also get the opportunity in a lot of these places. What you'll have is you may have, for example, in this deal, the owner was also using the space, right? So the owner, I think, had a small trucking company, so he was using the space. And the owners, especially on some of the smaller spaces that might be, 15,000 square feet, 30,000 square feet, they're not thinking from, an investor's point of view or from a landlord's point of view. They are someone who owns a trucking company and just happens to own a few other empty bays to the side of it. And they reach a point where they're ready to move on from that property. Maybe they're moving on from the business, and they don't realize the value of what they have. And that's where the real opportunities come in. So this was someone, he didn't have people locked in on long-term leases, thankfully, right? Because if we had people locked in on 5 or 10-year leases, then how are we going to get our value add in terms of increasing rent? But he didn't have people locked in on the long-term triple net leases, which are a big thing in the industrial side.
Explain triple net for the people who don't understand what that means.
Sure. So in the industrial space,
it pretty much goes for retail, industrial, everywhere. By the way,
right.
Okay.
Anything in the non-residential side of things, the lease will often have baked into it, make it the tenant's responsibility for increases in things such as insurance and property tax. Those get passed on to the tenant as part of the long-term lease that they're signing.
Exterior maintenance, common area maintenance, things of that nature as well.
So these are actually long-term leases then. They're not month-to-month short-term leases like regular self-storage.
Yeah, they're longer-term leases, but I think you were saying that he had some long-term, but they were triple net. Is that what I heard?
Well, he had not had. He
has not done that. Oh, okay. Gotcha. There was all short-term.
That was the real value add. And you find it with some of the smaller industrial spaces because the owner is not really thinking, they're really concerned about their business that maybe uses 3 of the units or something.
Yeah.
And they're not thinking about what they could be doing and how they could be maximizing the value on some of the aspects of the property.
Yeah, so what you're saying is you basically not only are increasing rents when you release to these short-term people or put them under lease or move them and get someone else in under lease, but you're also pivoting some of the expenses over to them, like the insurance and their taxes, which again also goes right to the bottom line. So, when you have, excuse me, when you have a complete triple net asset, you're basically not paying anything. The tenants pay everything. That's the beautiful thing about triple net. Would you agree with me here?
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things that makes this space so attractive is you push these things onto the tenant, and also the types of tenants you have. I mean, you're not dealing with the constant repair requests you might get on the residential side, right? You're
Right.
not going to
No,
have.
it's much easier to manage. The trade-off, I mean, it's a fantastic asset. And if you were able to, and it sounds like you were, we're going to talk about that in a second. It's a fantastic asset. And if you find an asset that's got short-term leases and you're able to implement all this stuff like you guys did, a home run. The caveat there is you're going to do longer-term leases, and because typically, what term leases are you signing? 5-year typically?
5 years is typical.
Yeah, 5-year. So, once you've done that play, you're not going to be able to increase the value again for 5 years, but it's still a hell of a lot easier to manage. By the way, you met John through the Warrior program, right? At one of the events. Is that what happened?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Well, listen, if you're listening and you want to inquire into our Warrior program, which is extraordinary, my students own upwards of, I think, well over 200,000 units at this point. Text the word crush to 72345. That's how you apply. Again, text crush to 72345. Has it been a home run for you, the program, Andrew?
It's been absolutely amazing. I mean, people you meet, we've met just such incredible people. I mean, when you go, I look forward to going to Arizona or Florida just to see these folks and hang out with them. And then you start working with them, and they're some of the smartest. They have tremendous integrity, and the synergy. It's a great investment. I mean, not only financially, but socially, and I can't recommend enough. My wife would tell you, I am one of the most skeptical people about all these things in the world.
Well, you're an attorney, for God's sakes. Yeah, let's say that under our breath. I'm teasing, of course. So, besides building their database, if someone is thinking about this business, are there any, people that are on the fence about moving forward and changing their lives? Do you have any other suggestions for them? Any other coaching you might give them that just inspire them a little bit? Do you have any thoughts there?
I think there's a lot, and I'm somebody, a lot of people are risk averse, right? They hear about, they're big deals, right? And they involve a lot of time and a lot of money, and people are risk averse. But not seizing opportunities and not taking chances is its own kind of risk. It's you're taking your own risk doing that. People, if you decide that your W-2 is going to be your only source of income and how you get by, that's a big risk. Because
no kidding,
that can go. Your employer can say goodbye to you at any moment. So take the time to learn the space. I think there's more opportunities here than almost any other investment class because there's so many different ways to approach it once you start to learn about it and start to talk with people. It's not stocks. The stock market tends to move in one direction. It goes up, it goes down, and the stocks over time tend to sort of just follow that, right? Or anything else, you're stuck with where the markets take you. And if you jump into this, spend the time to learn, get into a network where you can talk with and meet with people who are experienced and can show you the ropes and talk you through things. It's well worth it. You talk all the time, Ron. It always speaks to me at the meetings about an abundance mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And people should come at this from an abundance mindset. This world has a lot of opportunities. for people out there, and you have to believe that, and go seek those out and take the risks, and don't be afraid to have a seminar or two, but
Yeah.
but do it.
Yeah. Oh, that's great advice. Great advice.
So tell us about how you're able to balance all these things, running businesses, family obligations. You've obviously talked a lot about, raising capital, asset management. It obviously sounds like a lot. How do you do all these, balance all these things together?
Do you have children, by the way? And if so, how old?
I have my daughter will be 15 this summer. My son turned 13 in January.
Oh, wow. Okay. Teenagers.
Yeah.
2 of them. That's a lot.
It is. It is. A lot of it is, being, planning out your day and learning to prioritize, learning what you can lean on other people to do, and what, you need to take responsibility for and do. And for me, having a chance to work with my wife on this is also, everything becomes sort of more cohesive, right? I mean, we're able to have discussions about what's going on, who can do what. It really, everything's sort of integrated in a way that's really positive. But work-life balance, I mean, going out, investing time in meeting people, and learning their strengths and who you can work well with, who you might not work well with, and learning how to delegate some tasks and be the person. You have to also be the person who can be on the receiving end of tasks, and letting people know what you can do and being honest about that. You can manage quite a bit.
So, Andrew, I know you've got quite a different career path, from teacher to attorney to buying duplexes, and now you're in industrial space. I'm sure you have had some epiphanies in that journey, some like aha moments. And I know you're not prepared for this question, but I'd like you to think about any of those that you may have had in this journey of yours where you're like, okay, now I get it. And it could relate to, working with your wife, could relate to the asset class, could relate to the program, whatever comes to mind.
I mean, probably the biggest aha moment to me, I guess. Like I said, I worked at a very large law firm after I left law school, and those places, they pay quite well, right? The pay is quite high, but they also take a lot of your life. So you're asked to bill 2,800, 3,000 hours a year. For people who don't know about billable hours, that's not the hours you're in the office. You can't bill every hour you're in the office. So you make a lot of money, but you give up a lot of your life. And the aha moment to me was sort of when I looked at what I was getting for the hours I was giving away. And I think people, I talked earlier about how, just relying on your W-2 is a risk or whatever. People have to think about how to develop a life where there's lots of different income streams, lots of different investments, ways to preserve your time, make your time your own by investing yourself, whether it's starting a business or investing in real estate. You can reclaim your time and still make money and still come out ahead financially. That's how I think you work towards financial freedom ultimately, is to think about, how can I rely on myself to make money? How can I, not just hope that I can continue to give away all my time to my W-2 employer, but how can I become more self-reliant, reclaim my time, and develop multiple independent income streams.
Yeah, love it.
So for people that like your story, like the asset class, maybe people that just want to hear about your experience and working with us, where can people reach you, Andrew?
Email is probably the easiest, and I'm happy to give out my email address. So it's my name, Andrew, ANDREW .Dressel, DRESSEL @gmail. And I'm very happy to talk to people if they want to talk about this asset class, or talk about how to start this journey, and anything really. I mean, I have tremendous, very positive things to say just generally about moving into commercial real estate and commercial real estate as an investment and as a life choice. So I'm happy to give that out. I think that's going to be the easiest way to get in touch with me.
Beautiful.
Great idea. And yeah, don't give out your phone number. not on this show. Anyway, all right, brother. Well, listen, thank you. It's great to see you again. We should add your bride on the show with you here. I don't know what we were thinking, but since she's so active, but maybe we'll call you back and have her come on at some point. You know, when you get your next asset, ping us and let's have her on. Okay.
I'm sure she would love to join. Absolutely.
All right. All right. Well, it's great to see you, my friend. Thanks for adding some value today, brother.
Thank you for having me. It was great.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Take care, guys. We'll see you later. Bye now. So one other quick thing. We encounter so many people that are frankly frustrated. You know, they're looking in the mirror and they're frustrated that they haven't been able to escape the rat race. They haven't been able to build cash flow to the point where they're able to have financial and time freedom with their families. You know, and maybe they see other people buying real estate and creating, incredible cash flow, and they think, well, it's just scary. You know, buying apartments is intimidating. And I get it. See, that's why we created our Warrior Mentorship Program. They're our coaching students, and they've had extraordinary results. My students, I've been teaching about 5 years, and they own upwards of 140,000 units now that we know of, right? And we feel like it's just getting going. Now, we're looking to grow this group and really take it to the next level. And honestly believe that the greatest transfer of wealth could be upon us right now with this current economic environment. Everything's going on sale. So we're looking for people who want to follow a proven framework, really like a blueprint or a map, literally step by step. And then they're able to leverage our systems and our incredible network to raise money and equity, to find deals and close those deals and build partnerships, really nationwide. So if you're interested in finding out more about how you can become more in our incredible network and take advantage of the unbelievable opportunities that are upon us, you can apply to my Warrior Mentorship Program by texting the word CRUSH to 72345, or you can go to mentorwithrod.com. And what we'll do is we'll set up a call so you can check us out and we can check you out and see if it's a fit. Now, again, you can go to mentorwithrod.com or text the word CRUSH to 72345 to apply, and we will speak soon.